everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Radiantly Feminine podcast. Today, we're talking about something that quietly holds so many women back. We are not just going to discuss limiting beliefs, we need to go over what they are for those of you who are less familiar about this topic, and how and when you establish them, how they show up in your life, and how they can hold you back in life, and most importantly, how to actually overcome them. These are the quiet, unquestioned thoughts that whisper, I'm not good enough, I can't have the kind of life that I want, I'm not suited for success, I'm not good enough, people like me don't succeed, if I speak up, I'll be judged, I can't trust anyone, I'll never be loved the way I want, I have to work hard to deserve rest, because of my past, I'll always struggle. And I have quite a few examples, obviously, but I say all of this because I want to know if any of these sound familiar to you. Today, we're not just going to talk about limiting beliefs, we're going to unpack them, question them, and start the process of removing them. So let's go ahead and get right into the episode. So, what are limiting beliefs? For those of you that are less familiar with this topic, limiting beliefs are thoughts that are deeply embedded and restrict us from reaching our true potential. So this means limiting beliefs are deeply held thoughts or assumptions that hold you back from living fully, from believing in yourself, or even from stepping into your full potential. And they're often subconscious, and they are usually formed through past experiences, cultural messages, family dynamics, or trauma, and they actually shape how you see yourself, how you see others, and how you see the world. So to put it simply, limiting beliefs are the invisible stories you tell yourself that say, I can't, I'm not enough, or that's not for me. And they usually are formed from a young age. So like I said, it's usually things outside of yourself, like your culture, your family, and even your past experience. They can all establish and even impact your limiting beliefs. And like I said, they can stem from your childhood experiences or criticism. And they can also come from trauma or emotional neglect. Say when you needed a hug most, somebody just hurt you instead of giving you the hug that you needed to get through whatever you were going through at that time. And also cultural or societal conditioning, especially around race, gender, and beauty. These can all impact your beliefs as well. And they can stem from rejection or heartbreak, and even repeated failure or lack of support. So maybe you're someone who grew up hearing emotions were a weakness, and that's not true. The truth is, people who helped you establish that belief most likely couldn't handle taking care of your emotions because they were probably not able to take care of their own emotions or didn't know how to. Or maybe you were taught that being soft and feminine was something for little girls and that you needed to grow out of it because the real world was tough. And that's not true either. Maybe they were just trying to prepare you for life's problems the only way they knew how to. And here's the truth. A belief is just a thought that you have practiced over and over again. And just because you practice that thought doesn't mean it's true. So how can we start to identify limiting beliefs? You need to start by asking yourself, what's one thing I deeply deserve, but I keep telling myself that I can't have or I don't deserve to have it? And then I want you to follow it up with, where did I learn that and who told me that? And this is honestly a little follow-up for the episode I made about self-sabotage. Limiting beliefs falls into that same category. Now, sometimes a belief doesn't feel like a sentence, so the examples that I provided earlier, limiting beliefs are not always going to show up that way. They can show up as feelings. It feels like fear or hesitation or even unworthiness. So this topic is important because limiting beliefs quietly dictate what you allow yourself to receive, pursue, or feel worthy of. And they can affect your confidence, relationships, career choices, mental and emotional health, and your ability to experience joy and softness. And when all of these things are affected, guess what else is affected? Your feminine energy. So for me, I came a long way because I had such strong limiting beliefs that I walked through life I've said this before, but I walk through life with such a low amount of self-awareness, barely any self-awareness, honestly, but I'm glad I've gained self-awareness throughout the past years. But I just kept putting myself in situations. I feel like I talked about this on the self-sabotaging episode, but I would put myself in certain situations because I had these limiting beliefs of not being worthy enough for certain things. Even though I wanted certain things in life, I just had this overwhelming feeling of not being good enough or worthy enough of what I was wanting in life. And once I started working on removing these limiting beliefs and regulating my nervous system, I was able to start attracting the things that I actually wanted. And I came to this huge realization. I just had this epiphany. I was just like, oh, I actually am worthy of the things that I want. So I just wanted to share that short story with you guys. I know it wasn't like fully in depth, but I just wanted to share that with you guys to just let you know that it is something that you can acknowledge. You can acknowledge your limiting beliefs and tackle them so that way you can remove them and replace them with new beliefs about yourself. So that way you can start living your life to the fullest potential or to your fullest potential. So how can we begin to remove limiting beliefs? Believe it or not, limiting beliefs can actually be rewritten through reflection, therapy, affirmations, inner child healing, and consistent action. You can replace those old scripts with new truths, ones that are rooted in self-worth, abundance, and even joy. So here are some simple but super effective techniques that I've actually used to remove some of my limiting beliefs. So number one, you want to start by naming it. Bring the belief to light. Say it out loud if you need to. Write it down. I actually identified mine by writing them down. So you're going to take something that you have been trying to manifest, and this is how you're going to identify that limiting belief. You're going to take something that you've been trying to manifest or something that you really, really want. And then you take a sheet of paper, you fold it in half, and sit quietly until all of the negative beliefs start to come up. So for example, if you're trying to manifest money, relationships, or even better friendships in your life, take one of those at a time. You're going to do one per page, so that way you have enough room to put your limiting beliefs and your new truths. So say if it's about money. I don't know about you guys, but I love to write. So once I get in the flow of writing, everything just starts coming, and I don't even have to think about it. My hand just does the writing, or my hands just do the typing. Like, it all just comes out. So I've been really good at writing. Like, I wanted to be a writer at a really young age, so that was just something easy for me. I'm not sure if everybody can tap into that, but that was just something super easy for me to do. But if it's not something easy that you know, or if it's not something that you find easy to do, that's okay. This is why sitting quietly until it comes up is very important, because it's going to come up. So say if you're trying to manifest money, you need to sit quietly and determine all of the negative things or all of the negative thoughts that you have about money. Say if you think that money is the root of all evil, that's a negative belief. Boom, write it down. Say you believe that wealthy people are greedy or unethical. Boom, write it down. That's a negative thought. Anything negative that you can think of about what you're trying to manifest is a limiting belief. So you're going to write that down. And then on the other half of the paper that you folded, or if you're doing it on the other side, whatever, it doesn't matter, as long as you just have space for the limiting beliefs and the new truth. So after you write down all your limiting beliefs, as many as you can think of, and you may have to do this more than once for the same topic, it doesn't really matter, just as long as you're able to come up with all of the limiting beliefs, so that way you can counter it. So once you're ready to start writing your new truths, you're going to look at each limiting belief that you wrote down, and you're going to write something down specifically that counters it. So say if you believe that wealthy people are unethical or greedy, you're going to write down something like, if I was a wealthy person, I wouldn't be greedy or unethical. There are more ways to make money. Something like that. I'm just throwing ideas out here for you guys, because everybody's going to have their own limiting beliefs, because like I said, it depends on how you grew up, the experiences you had early in life, and so on and so forth. And if you're having trouble challenging those limiting beliefs that you wrote down, you can ask yourself questions like, is this absolutely true? Or whose voice is this really? So that way you could start to dig deep and see where it actually came from. And then, like I said, you just want to rewrite it, challenge it. So it's going to involve replacing it with an empowering belief. And another example, it could be, if I think I'm too much, you can try to say something like, my fullness is my gift. And the last step is to affirm and practice your new beliefs. So if you wrote it down, this is something that you can read on a daily basis. But this step is crucial because this is where you will start speaking the new belief daily and act from that place. The mind catches up with repetition, so repetition is going to be your best friend. Now, it's important to know that removing limiting beliefs is critical because they silently shape your reality, what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you believe you deserve. So whether you're healing, embracing your feminine energy, or calling in a provider, your beliefs act as the blueprint of your life. And if that blueprint is built on fear, lack, or unworthiness, everything you build on top of it will feel so unstable. So this is why removing limiting beliefs is so important. You literally cannot outperform your beliefs. You might desire more, whether that's more love, more peace, or more support. But if deep down you believe you're too much, or good people don't exist, or you have to do it all yourself, you'll self-sabotage, shrink, or settle if you don't shift your mindset. This is what I mean when I say your thoughts shape your reality, and you will only go as far as your beliefs allow you to. And limiting beliefs actually block your receiving energy. And we all know, I've talked about this so many times, feminine energy is about receiving. But if you believe things like, I don't deserve this, or they'll leave me if I need too much, or being soft makes me weak, then every blessing that tries to reach you will hit a wall of resistance. In other words, you cannot receive what you're actively rejecting, even if you're unconsciously rejecting it. And I really, really think it's important for you guys to know that limiting beliefs create cycles, not solutions. So until you remove those limiting beliefs that are holding you back or holding up those walls of resistance, you're going to be met with the same situations throughout your life. So, because unhealed beliefs create patterns that feel like bad luck, or all men are the same, but it's not randomness, it's repetition. Remember when I said you have to use repetition to form your new beliefs? That's exactly how the limiting beliefs were established. And you don't know it now, but you are continuously doing repetition to reaffirm that limiting belief. So if you believe things like love requires struggle, then you'll be drawn to emotionally unavailable partners. And this can honestly be established because, not because this is something that you just thought of on your own or somebody told you, but this is something that you could have seen early in childhood. Say your parents didn't have a healthy relationship or marriage and they were just together for the sake of being together. You could have established that as a way of establishing meaning, because as humans, we try to establish meaning to everything that we experience. Whether you're doing that consciously or unconsciously, we are putting a meaning to everything that we experience. And if you believe success requires burnout, then you'll push away rest and softness. Those things do not feel right for you. They don't feel peaceful because you're not used to peace. So when you change the belief, you shift the pattern. And a new pattern, a new repetition, a new cycle of repetition is going to form in its place. Now, limiting beliefs, they also silence your inner guidance, and your inner guidance is also known as your intuition. And like I said before, your feminine energy involves you using your intuition. And limiting beliefs, they drown out your intuition, and your intuition is also your inner compass. And so this means you'll start to second guess your standards, ignore red flags, and stay in misalignment because a false belief is telling you, maybe this is as good as it gets. But your soul always knows the truth. So we can still tap into our intuition, whether we have limiting beliefs or not. You can still tap into your intuition, but it's going to be a lot harder for you to tap into your intuition when you have limiting beliefs standing in the way. Now, true freedom is mental first. You can look put together and have the job, the relationship, or the whole life aesthetic, but If your beliefs are rooted in fear or lack, you'll never feel safe in your life. Because, like I said, all of the things that you are pulling into your life, they are going to be put on top of an unstable foundation. And that unstable foundation is your limiting beliefs. But once you remove that and replace those limiting beliefs with healthy new beliefs, you'll create a new, healthy, stable foundation for all of the things in your life to stand on. So just know I said all of that because freedom or liberation isn't about external change, it's about internal alignment. So we're nearing the end of this episode, but I have 2 quotes that I found which I thought would be perfect for this episode. The first is by Eckhart Tolle. The moment you realize you are not your thoughts is the moment you become free. And the next one is by someone unknown. Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words, and your words shape your life. And I think those are just beautiful quotes to fit into the episode nicely. It's important that you guys always remember that healing is feminine work. And removing beliefs is not going to be you forcing changes. It's about softening into your truth and embracing your authentic self. It's about choosing to believe that what you want wants you to. It's about choosing to believe you deserve more. It's about choosing to believe you are worthy. You have always been worthy. So, if you like this episode, I would like to invite you to take 5 minutes today to journal about one belief that you're ready to release. And if you're in this journey of feminine healing and wholeness, don't forget to follow the show and share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Until next time, remember you are worthy, you are powerful, and your beliefs shape your reality. So choose wisely. And before I say bye, I want to let you guys know that I will be leaving some additional journal prompts in the episode's description, as long as a link to my free ebook that I created for last episode. And it's about curating happiness into your life. And who doesn't want to be happier? So go ahead and click that link so you can download my free ebook. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.